I'm Krista, I'm an addict.
I'm Gracie and I'm not.
I'm Korey and I'm an alcoholic.
Okay, so today we have my good friend Korey, and he's going to share a little bit about his story and, you know, and we're going to celebrate him today. So, Korey.
Hey, thanks for asking me to come on.
Yeah.
Thank you
I
for
didn't know, I don't
coming.
really know. Yeah, I like what y'all got going on here. I watch y'all all the time. It's interesting.
Well, you've lived it too, so you get it.
Yeah, I started using and drinking at around, I don't know, I'd say probably 15 or 16 years old, and it was still fun then. It was all high school parties and hanging out with friends, and everybody would be drinking. So at that time it was still fun. It wasn't until later in my 20s to where it started to really affect my personal relationships with my family. Uh, it went from drinking on the weekends to two DUIs in 1 year. And after the DUIs, it went on into like heavy drug use after that. It was always, I don't know, it's hard to explain. So, after the two DUIs I got when I was 23, I still didn't think I really had a problem, but normal people don't get two DUIs in 1 year and still think there's nothing wrong. So, uh, it alcoholism is a progressive disease, and I believe I was born with it. Both of my parents are alcoholics. Uh, my sister's an alcoholic. She's in recovery now. Uh, I think it was almost a hereditary thing for me. Uh, there wasn't enough, I guess the warning signs were there, when I was younger. If I'd have just paid attention or knew what to look for, maybe I could have taken a different path. But it is what it is, and everything I went through in my addiction got me to where I'm at today. Uh, in my 20s, it went from using methamphetamine or using Adderall and a lot of opiates. I was highly addicted to opiates all the way through my 20s. I couldn't leave the house without having something. My whole world revolved around getting one more of, whatever it was, whether it was, Lortabs or Oxycontin, uh, anything of that nature that would change the way I felt. I wanted more of it. Uh, and the trips to jail got more frequent. As I got older, I couldn't stay out of jail. I couldn't stay out of the legal system. I was always in court. I was always going, just my behavior was getting worse and worse and worse. And society was saying, hey, man, you need to chill out, or we're going to lock you up. I think, all of our stories, like in addiction or alcoholism, I hear a bunch of stories being in recovery, and they all pretty much sound the same. If you really look at it, what it was like, it started out as fun, and then it progressively got worse and worse and worse until I ended up in jail. And that's where recovery really started for me. I went to I guess when I was 26 or so, my first recovery, I went to Paducah, and that was my first shot at recovery, and it didn't really work out. I think I was doing it more to make my family happy or make the people that wanted me to go happy. I was doing it for them and not myself. Uh, so that stint in recovery didn't last very long, but it introduced me. It kind of planted a seed for, maybe this thing is possible. But at one point in my addiction, I just, I kind of said, "This is what it is, man. That's just the way I'm going to live my life." And it's sad to say, but that was the only life that I really knew that I could really understand, where I felt comfortable living. I couldn't imagine being sober, much less living life on life's terms. That was something I thought I would never be able to do. Uh, but as I got further and further away from, you know, as I got further into addiction, I look back at it now and I'm like, all the things that I went through, like going to jail, uh, seeing the disappointment in my family's face when I would come around, those things, I look back at them now and I'm like, man, how did I just ignore those? How did I just keep going? Being on the other side of it now, I've got family members that are still out there doing their thing, and it's heartbreaking. When the roles are reversed, it's hard to watch, and I realize exactly, what I did to people that loved me when they were watching me do what I was doing. I don't know. I ended up in jail for the last time. I think it was in July of 2019. Yeah, I ended up in jail. And I knew when I got to jail that time that, something was different and I was going to do what it took to get sober and stay sober. Uh, Divine intervention or whatever you want to call it. But I feel like God stepped in and let me know, hey, if you don't change something, this is what it's going to be from here on out. And I just wasn't willing to accept, my life is just staying out of jail. That's what my life had become, was just not going to jail and not getting caught by the cops. So that last trip to jail really did it for me. And, I called my mom while I was in there, and I told her, Mom, I want to get some help. And she came and saw me. I was in Hopkins County Jail at the time. I don't know how I ended up down there, but, they took me from Henderson County Jail to Hopkins County Jail. I was in the jail cell, in the Hopkins County Jail. I was in a jumpsuit that was two times the size that I was supposed to be wearing. It was, I didn't have any socks. I didn't have any underwear. I was in, uh, and I was in this jail and I was like, man, this sucks real bad.
Yeah.
I mean, going to jail in Henderson County was all right because there was the people, I would know everyone in there, I might walk by there and see Krista or whoever,
Right.
And I can laugh about those things today, but in the time, it wasn't funny at all. There wasn't nothing to smile about out there. Krista knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I can sit back and kind of laugh at it now because, the journey I took got me to where I'm at today. I can't say that enough. It takes what it takes. And, when that stuff quit working for me is when I reached out and tried to find something else, and it had quit working. It had quit being fun. It was no longer a solution to my problem. So, I called my mom and it took her a couple of days to figure out where I was, and I had to figure out how to get a hold of her. I was in jail in a different county. I finally got a hold of my mother. She came and saw me down there in the Hopkins County Jail, and at that time, you could still have like the glass visits, like instead of the Zoom meeting or whatever on the tablet in jail now that they do, you could still have the like she'd come in and sit on the other side of the glass. You pick up the phone, hey mom,
Yeah.
she's like, hey son, and I was like, yeah, I think I want to get some help, and she started crying, I started crying. It was yeah, I can remember it like it was yesterday, and she, when you're in jail, you don't know if anybody really cares about you. You're really second guessing uh, what's going on out there. Like, is anybody worried about me? Is anybody coming to get me? Would anybody pay my bail if they lowered it? It's a lot of second guessing it. But she showed up, and I told her I wanted some help. And by the time I got back to my cell, she had sent me a little. They've got these kiosks in there. She sent me a little a message on the kiosk and said, I got you a bed at the Mark Center, and I'll be there Monday to pick you up, and we're going. So they picked me up in Madisonville at the jail. We went and ate Chinese food. Went to Henderson. I packed my bags and went to the Mark Center.
I bet that.
And do what, Chris?
But I bet that was good on your stomach, Chinese, right after jail.
Oh man, yeah. I ate as much as I could. You know, in jail, you starve to death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I wanted some Chinese food, so we went to the Chinese buffet.
Yummy.
Yeah, it was delicious.
So you went to Mark Center.
Yeah, I went to the Mark Center, and you know, I wasn't real sure that I wasn't real sure about recovery. I wasn't real sure about the 12 steps or anything like that. So you know, it was all kind of foreign to me, and of course, me, I think I know everything about everything. So there's nothing they could really tell me down there. So I thought I'll just breeze through this, make everybody happy, and get back to what I was doing. Or maybe I'll change. You know, maybe something will change. So I went down there kind of one foot in, one foot out. You know, I'm not real sure if I want to be sober because you know, at this point, I've been in jail for about 22 days or something. That's the longest I've been sober in years. You know, it's the longest I've been without any kind of drugs or alcohol in years. So I'm still kind of one foot in, one foot out, man. And I get to going through the program down there. And, you know, they encourage you to pray and to find a higher power, you know, and to kind of seek God. And that's what I started doing. And I got with some friends that really wanted to do something different. I mean, I hung on to the people that I saw that were doing something different, and they gave me hope. You know, and at the point when I got to the Mark Center, I was completely hopeless. You know, I was 32 years 32 years old, and I was homeless. You know, I didn't have a place of my own. You know, it was couch to couch, uh, or staying at my mother's house. Uh, didn't have a job, didn't have any money. You know, so that was kind of like the last option for me was to go to treatment and get it right. Either that or go back to being homeless and living on the streets, or kind of, you know, getting in where I could, or, you know, just that kind of survival mode of addiction. Uh, you know, so I stuck around the Mark Center for, there was a 6 month program was the educational part of the program. So I stayed down there for 6 months. And after I got done with that, it was optional to stay another 3 months and peer mentor at that program. And that's what I did. I stayed there for another 3 months and tried to, you know, help back where it's kind of like where you can teach class and help some of the guys that just got there. It gave you a chance to kind of give back to the program. And that's what I did. I stayed down there for 3 months. And after that little contract was up, they asked me to work there, and I got a job there working at the treatment center as a SOS monitor. And I did that for about a year, I think. So I was in the building 10 months, and then I worked there for a year after. And I also worked. I worked 2 jobs while I was down there in Bowling Green. I moved out of the Mark Center, got my own apartment, got my license back, got a vehicle. You know, things started kind of getting better for me. You know, I was starting to be able to live life on life terms, which is something I'd never done without drugs and alcohol. So I was doing things for the first time in my life that I'd never done before. Uh, you know, I got really involved in the program and started sponsoring other guys, trying to give back what was given to me. Uh, and then I guess I was about 2 years sober when my buddy here at in Henderson called me and offered me a job, and I wasn't real sure about, you know, moving out of this safety bubble from Bowling Green of all these people I got sober with. And you know, I've worked for this company before for my whole life. You know, it's all I'd ever known was working for these people. And they by the way, if it wasn't for these people, I would probably be dead or in prison. There's no doubt about it. The people that I work for now, you know, they kind of raised me and showed me right from wrong. Even though I chose to go down that path, they definitely had a uh, a huge influence on my life up, you know, from the time I was 10 till now. So he called me. He's like, man, we would love to have you back. I was like, man, I would love to come back, you know, but I was still kind of unsure about moving back to my hometown. And, you know, but I didn't just make decisions on my own. I kind of ran it past some guys in Bowling Green, my support group, and they were all like, "Man, I think you can handle it," you know. So I moved back to Henderson, and that was something I said I would never do, was come back to my hometown. But I'm so glad I did. You know, it's working out good. I stay really involved in the recovery community around here, and I think that's what it takes for someone like me, is to just stay around sober people that are actually doing something different with their life. You know, if it wasn't for the fellowship and the camaraderie that I have with a group of guys that I hang out with, it would I don't think I would be sober today. You know, it's a huge part of my recovery is other people, you know, that are sober and doing their next right thing. We've got a good group of guys here in Henderson that are I don't know, man, they just make a huge difference in my life.
And I don't think guys that are struggling know that there are guys that are really doing the thing out here, you know. So I don't know if you would be willing, but if there's men who are struggling, like, would you be willing for them to reach out to us and get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we talk a lot from like a woman's perspective, and I've had girls reach out to me, but I don't. A man might feel uncomfortable doing that, so that would be awesome. If somebody reached out, we could send them in your direction. I know you work with a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm interested, you know, in helping anybody that's trying to do something different.
Yeah. Well, I know when I moved back to Henderson and saw you in where I saw you, like, it was just so comforting to, like, we've been all together, grew up together, partied together, seen like the dark side together, and then we're on the other side of it. And I just think it's awesome to see, good things happening in your life. And we were menaces to this county before, and now helping other people. And it's just that's what recovery is about,
Yeah, it definitely gives me a different purpose in life. You know, it's not just it's not that I did all those bad things and that there's nothing I can do about it. I feel like, you know, if I can stay diligent in what I'm doing, I can really make a conscious effort to kind of give back to the community that that we took from for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on here. Like, I think it's just awesome to bring awareness to that there's people out here recovering. And I know that what you've shared today is going to touch a lot of people. I know it. So
Well, I'm just glad you asked me to do it. You know, I watch you all the time, and I think, you know, every time I see you on here, I'm like, go Krista, you know, because I know where we come from, and it's a some people don't realize the amount of change we go through in recovery, but you know, I recognize it in you for sure.
you too. I'm so proud of you. So, all right. Well, I'll see you around, and thank you. And
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
y'all. I appreciate it.
all right.